I am not an artist. I am a painter. I have too much respect for true artists to call myself such. Professional artists must create to please others. Amateur painters paint to please themselves. I am just a Sunday painter, and I intend to keep it that way. There are many ways to start a painting. There are no only ways or correct ways, just different ways. When you take an art class, the instructor will show you their approach to painting. You must take a little from each class and develop your own technique. Here are a few ways of starting a painting and my method. You can just start painting and build up the image. You can block in the largest objects and work down to the smallest detail. Or you can draw by eye, air measure. You know where the painter holds up his thumb or the end of the paintbrush to measure the size relationships. You can work from a photograph and use proportional dividers to transfer points and relationships to the painting surface. Or you can use the grid system, perhaps the most common, to start your painting. You may want to use the cartoon transfer method. Or you can just start freehand drawing on the painting surface. By the way, the painting surface is called the support. I am going to show you step by step how I approach a painting. This is my technique. It may or may not work for you. I can break this approach down into 8 steps. The advantage of this process is that I can make corrections or improvements at any point along the way. I start with a photograph, then make a pencil drawing on the support, either a canvas or a panel. First I paint in the darkest darks. This is perhaps the most important step. These are the bones of the painting. You can use any color, but I prefer burnt umber. At this point, I determine the background tones. Then I apply halftones and lightest lights to the subject, using Dalquin as the medium to thin down the burnt umber. On this painting, I took an extra step of applying some white to brighten the highlights. Then I start applying color to the background. Now it's time to paint the subject. I paint alla prima. I normally don't use medium with the paint. This is another quick example of the process I use. Line drawing, darkest darks, background tones, background color, start painting subject, voila, finished painting. The painting technique I use is called broken color. Many painters blend their brush strokes to get a smooth transition between colors. With broken color, you do as little blending as possible using single freestanding strokes. I prefer to use 3/16 masonite panels, sanded and primed, as my support. My palette is pre-mixed by hue and value. I use small flat brushes for most of my paintings. I often start with a photograph. Then I crop down to the composition that appeals to me. From this image, I interpret my painting. Rather than painting an object, I place bits of color into shapes. I overlap brush strokes and colors to give me a dappled appearance, like sunlight breaking through trees. I never attempt to match the color of the original image. Sometimes I experiment with the wrong colors to see what effect this will have on the work. I believe the composition and subject are more important than the color used. Don't think of every painting you start as a masterpiece. Think of it as an experiment to see what you can create. I'm just a Sunday painter, so I tell myself, don't take yourself seriously. Have fun and enjoy painting.